And welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. Sitting next to me, Deb Hartley, Jim Lee, Utah Prudential Real Estate. Prudential Utah Real Estate is the way you like to say it. And I am so glad to have you guys here, as always. We always have so much fun talking about homes and things.
We always love visiting with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this time you guys have a deadline that people need to know about, though.
We do.
All right. Tell us all about it.
September 17th.
Okay.
Big deadline.
Yeah.
We are hoping everybody got their tax notices, their property tax notices.
Right.
That came out for everybody's property with the proposed and what the changes are going to be. And a couple things to notice on that tax notice.
And obviously the first thing is, are you categorized as a primary or a non-primary residence?
Right.
That's a big deal because there's a huge difference.
Yeah, especially up here in Park City where we have people who this is not their primary residence. This is the place they come to for just for winter activities or summer activities.
So it's either a primary residence where you live more than 6 months out of the year, or it's designated non-primary if it's a rental.
Or an investment property.
A second home. So anything not a primary.
Okay.
One caveat. If you own a property here and you have a full-time tenant in there, somebody you have a year lease, you submit your year lease to the county and you will receive that primary tax status.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
That's very nice.
But it's a long-term, it's got to be a 12-month lease.
Correct.
Okay. But in theory, that means you could have two primary residences. You could have your one that you live in and this rental property.
That is correct.
Wow. That's really interesting. Okay.
So just to remind everybody, the two tax structures are, if you're a primary resident, the property tax is 0.55% of the assessed value.
Okay.
If it's a second or an investment property, it doubles to 1.1% of the assessed value.
Aha. So that's a significant amount.
That's a significant amount.
Yeah,
right.
double your money. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So the assessed value, check your assessed value. If the assessed value appears odd to you, you can appeal your tax notice.
Right.
And the process is actually rather easy.
Yeah.
You can download the form off the internet, call us, we can get you the form as well. But what's really important is you have to provide comparable sales for the previous calendar year. It doesn't matter what happened in January, February, March of this year, it's the previous calendar year. Exactly, because that's when that's the tax we're being assessed on. That's correct.
The value that the assessor is using is based on January 1st, 2012. So it's not today's value, it's 9 months previous.
Ago, yeah, exactly. And there are certainly some errors that happen. Sure. I went in my personal home, my primary residence, I found several pretty big mistakes. They thought I had a huge deck that I don't have. They thought I have more bathrooms than I had. Right. And just those little tiny things, when I started adding them up, made a huge difference. I mean, it was several $100s. And then when I started pulling comps, it was a big difference.
Well, likewise,
excuse me.
On my property as well, I looked at what my value was, and I noticed what was for sale in my neighborhood. There's a significant difference. So I have appealed my taxes for this year. It's very easy to do, but you must do it. Either it's Wasatch County or Summit County by September 17th. Very important date, by 5 o'clock.
All right. Very interesting. So, tell me how you guys can help people with this, because this isn't, they can't do it all on their own. They need some help.
Exactly. So basically, if you give us a call, what we can do is we can provide those comparable sales.
Right.
At that period of time. And we have access to all that information. We can provide it. We can first of all tell you if it looks like it's out of whack or not. If it's
in line
with the current with the value at that time, or if you are being assessed too high.
Right. And so you can save some people some significant amount of time just on what their feeling is. I think I might be paying too much. You guys can come out and say, well, actually, not so much. Maybe a little bit, but or oh boy, yeah, a whole lot. Let's file this.
Yeah, we'll look up the comparable sales for you for the previous year. Tell you kind of where you fall in line if you fall too high, or if you're kind of right in the mid-range. We'll help you with that, and we'll also help you find the forms on the internet as well. It's real easy to find, but.
Yeah, we'll direct you right to the right forms to fill out, and you can continue with the appeal. And And a lot of people are successful. I mean, more than you would think.
Well, and you should pay your fair share. There's no reason to pay more than what you necessarily should be paying. So it's not something, a lot of people think of it as, oh, well, they're assessing what is right. They don't want to, I don't want to, make myself, I don't want to embarrass myself going in and arguing it or anything like that. But the truth of it is sometimes you're paying more than your fair share.
Let's add one caveat here. Although property values seem to have been slipping over the last couple of years, that doesn't mean your taxes may necessarily go down, because
Very true.
the county still has to plow roads, keep the doors open. They still have to operate. So they may raise the mill levy, but your property taxes may go down, which may not be a significant difference in the taxes that you pay.
The one thing I thought was interesting, I went and I did an interview with somebody, I guess it was in Utah County, one of their assessors, and we were talking about these very things. And he said something very interesting. He said, it doesn't really, the interesting part about it is that this is a balance between everybody in the county. So when you appeal yours and it changes, then we still charge the same tax base. So someone else has a mistake that we have to rectify.
Right.
And so it is very much about a matter of balancing between everyone. And I thought that was a really interesting comment, because you may think that you're taking away from the county. You're not.
You're not.
Right.
They're going to get the same amount of money one way or another, which is interesting.
So the last point I want to make is, and it just left my brain.
Well, let me add one. Okay. There's a different date, and I don't know the date on it, but for veterans and for some other people who may need a tax abatement this year, because that's something that we don't think about a lot. But we do have some some veterans here who live here locally who have been, maybe they've been deployed and they've just returned from war. There is a possibility of filing an abatement to not pay for the entire year. With that, with being deployed, or in the case of somebody who had lost their job last year, something like that. So a consideration as well. So think about that.
Okay.
Yeah. But interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me what else is going on in real estate. Let's talk about that for a second.
Real quick. I think the bell has rung and we're on the way back.
We're on the way up, aren't we?
We're on the way up. I mean, I was just talking to Jim as we came in. I can't believe the number of listings we have sold in the last month.
Everything you've got out there is going.
The market is bubbling up from the bottom, and I'm telling you, all that low-lying stuff is starting to sell quickly. Inventory is very thin. Yeah, we already figured out that the inventory of things that were foreclosures and all of that, the really good stuff, it's gone. It's gone.
And now the stuff that's like kind of just the cusp above that, going fast.
It's exactly right.
And then even the high-end stuff, it has never really slowed down as much as people have thought. Is going pretty quickly too.
So buyers are sitting on the fence waiting for it to drop a little more.
You don't want to wait.
If that train's left the station.
Especially below $1 million as a primary residence.
Right.
The homes are really getting
they're moving fast. We've got a lot of people who've been renting, and they're done renting. They're going to move into homes.
Right.
So
the rental market is also very strong. As people are trying to move here, can't find the home they're looking for. There are so few rentals out there. I see people looking for rentals every day. They said that I heard this on KSL this morning, that there is a shopping spree that's about to happen on cars, boats, and homes. And that was their exact words. They said between now and the holidays, people are, because they have so much disposable income they've been saving, because of the economy, and the fact that we're now in an election year, that they're about to spend a lot of money. What surprises me is, you think of an election year, most people just kind of hold back and don't do anything till after the election, thinking something magical is going to happen. They're all over it right now. Exactly. So, how do we get in touch with you guys? Go ahead, Jim. Okay, you can call us at Prudential Utah Real Estate, and that's 435-647-8009. Awesome. Well, I'm so pleased to have you on the show as always. We had such a good time. We learned so much. Look forward to seeing you next month. All right. We'll be back with more in just a moment.